Hey Canucks fans, it's time for a weekend Ask Me Anything. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clay Emo on Instagram, I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Saturday, May the 9th. This is where you come for Canucks insight that's positive and timely. I thought I'd try something new today. Given that it's the weekend and right now with the NHL on pause, there's not a lot of news that comes out on the weekend. So I thought a weekend would be a great time to do a more casual feature like an Ask Me Anything. So likely going forward, I'll probably do these on Sundays actually, but for this weekend I'm doing it today on Saturday because who knows what tomorrow's gonna look like, it being Mother's Day and all. So this is my first Ask Me Anything in a while, and I'm gonna do it via Twitter. Just easier to manage, it's easier for me to read. But if I remember, on the day before, I'll also ask for questions on YouTube as well. But generally, I'll facilitate this through Twitter on my account at Canuck Clay. So last night, I wrote, I have no work or studying to do this weekend, so fire away with your Canucks questions and ask me anything. Pun completely intended. And that pun is that I did it with a boomerang of our outdoor fire pit with all the flames gloriously flying around and blazing so nicely. So that was the pun of so fire away. I know I'm such a funny guy, right? So many of you responded. Actually, I got over a dozen questions, which were great. A couple of them were repeats, a couple of them were inappropriate. So I'll get to 7 or 8 of them now. I didn't want to spend too much time looking through them because I want to be as spontaneous as we could. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So my first question is from Pennapox, at Pennapox, and it says, Clay, who's your favorite non-Canuck of all time? Really good question. Growing up, I loved Guy Lafleur, actually, because I didn't mind the Montreal Canadiens. They're on TV all the time. Actually, funny story, my dad used to tell me when he was growing up, he used to play ice hockey, used to play casual ice hockey with his friends, and he had a Montreal Canadiens jersey, so he used to tell me that he played for the Montreal Canadiens. I caught on to him pretty quick, but I did like Guy Lafleur. Number 10 for Montreal, no helmet, his beautiful hair, his flow, maybe the precursor to Brock Besser, his hair flowing, as he skated so quickly and so, gracefully down the ice. So I liked Guy Lafleur growing up when I was really small. I did like Wayne Gretzky, and I always admired him, even though he would always beat up on the Canucks. But I'd say it was Guy Lafleur back in the day. And then right now, my favorite non-Canuck is actually Steven Stamkos. I really like him a lot. Too bad that he missed the Olympics that year. He got injured. But I like Stamkos a lot, and good Canadian boy. And I like the way he plays, very skilled, and part of a really good team in Tampa Bay. I like Connor Hellebuyck a lot, actually. Winnipeg and Tampa are among my 2 favorite non-Canucks teams. So I'd say Steven Stamkos, but all time, it was probably Guy Lafleur, my favorite non-Canuck. I know I'm dating myself, aging myself right now, but I do that all the time, so why change? Why should anything be different today? Okay, Sereno Rosario says, at DKeyPD40, and he asked, what was your first Canucks jersey you ever had? Great question, Rosario. My first Canucks jersey was actually Roberto Luongo in 2007, 2008, because I actually, despite being a huge Canucks fan growing up, I actually didn't have a lot of Canucks jerseys. I think I had some t-shirts, I had some sweatshirts, a baseball cap or whatever, but I didn't have any jerseys until 2007, 2008. And then in very short order, I had guys like Luongo and then David Booth. You guys know that. That was a little later. I have the Sedins, and now more recently, of course, Horvat, Pettersson, Hughes, Besser, and so on and so forth. But there's a Ryan Miller jersey in there as well. But it was definitely Roberto Luongo was my first Canucks jersey. I had a couple, I think, unnamed ones too, right, where it's just the jerseys with no name on the back. So the first one that was a name jersey was Roberto Luongo. Good question, Rosero. Terry at Surrey Canuck 6 asks, Lind or Rafferty, who makes their NHL debut first? I'm going to go with Brogan Rafferty. I think things are lining up for him to make the team and start the season with the team next season, especially on our right side. We only have Tyler Myers signed. Got to see what happens with Chris Tanev, a UFA, Troy Stecher, an RFA. Brogan Rafferty, 25 years old, so he's not like a really young prospect, but he played very well with Utica in the AHL. So I fully expect him to be on the team next year, likely as a third pairing right shot D-man, depending on what happens with either Tanev versus Stecher or someone else. But I expect Rafferty to start next season with the Canucks. I expect Colin to battle for a spot, and he may make it too, but he might start as a 13th or 14th forward. He may be one of the first call-ups from Utica. So my answer is Rafferty. McLovin, at McLovin Canucks says, why is Jim Benning the best GM in Canucks history? And that tweet actually got 5 likes on Twitter. So I think McLovin maybe, given McLovin's account, I think he's being a little sarcastic here. I would not call Jim Benning the best GM in Canucks history, and I know there's a lot going on now with the whole Weisbrod and bracket stuff, but I like Jim Benning. I've talked about that before, and that's not just because I'm the founder of the GLCPC, but if you're talking about the best Canucks in, GM in history, you could argue for both. Brian Burke and the way that he orchestrated the Sedins draft and really set us up for years to come. Or, of course, Mike Gillis, Mike Gillis would probably be my pick because of the way he thought outside the box. Yeah, his drafting wasn't great, but I think his mandate was to build a team that would win, and they came one game short of that ultimate prize. So I'm going to go with Mike Gillis for best GM in Canucks history because of the way he assembled that 2010-2011 team, all the things he did, everything from travel patterns to sleep patterns to nutrition, to the ways they stayed in hotels, the way they stayed together, the way they ran meetings, practices, a lot of really, really outside the box thinking, as I said. So I'm going to go with Mike Gillis as our GM, and definitely if the Canucks had won that Game 7, we would all be heralding Mike Gillis as our best GM almost unanimously. We got Quarantine Who's, and then it's at Riot Survivor asked me, have you ever considered retiring the post-game haiku in exchange for post-game limericks? And that actually got five likes as well. So I love poetry. I'm not the best poet. I'm not a poet, and I know it. Well, how'd you like that? And haiku, you guys kind of know, for those that have known me for a while, you guys know that's kind of my thing, because that's how I broke into the Canucks YouTube and Twitter world, was by writing haiku and by writing, doing a poem. Doing a video with my kids doing haiku with me, and it actually won us a Canucks contest way back about 10 or 11 years ago now. And it's kind of become my shtick, right, to do this, the power of the 575, the 17-syllable creation. I like limericks. There once was a boy named Clay who vlogged about Canucks every day. He's sad they're not playing, but I know he's not saying that they won't come back one day. No, that's just okay. But I like limericks. They're a little longer. I'm sure they'll still fit in the 280 character limit, but maybe I'll change it up a little bit. But I do like the haiku because that's my thing. But thank you for the suggestion. Andy Per 16 at Andy Per 161 says, "Who's your favorite Canuck of all time?" Talked about this a few times. My favorite Canuck of all time is indeed Roberto Luongo, and I loved his competitiveness. I love his personality, especially in his later years. I loved, the fact that he's a winner. That that captain season was probably a tough one, but he was a winner, a gold medalist, one game short Stanley Cup, same as Mike Gillis. And I really like Roberto Luongo, and this kind of biases me a little bit too. You guys, I told the story before how Marie Huey and I wrote a song for him after he got traded. It was called "End of the Road" by Boyz II Men, and we changed it to a Roberto Luongo tribute song. So we performed it. It got a lot of good play, a lot of good media, and then Roberto Luongo actually DM'd us separately, or individually, whatever word you want to use, and he actually thanked me and thanked Marie for writing the song. He goes, "Thank you for doing the song. That meant a lot to me. It was very touching." So for Roberto Luongo to go out of his way to send me a tweet, a DM, send Marie a tweet, a DM, saying thank you for the song, thank you for the effort, that meant a lot. And it just, I thought it was a really classy move. Always thought he had a good personality, especially as he took it, a more relaxed approach on Twitter. His bits with Corey Schneider when he was here, the fact that he was really a fan favorite when he was here. I'm not sure, some people are saying that he's a slam dunk to get his jersey retired. As much as he's my favorite player, I'm not so sure. He's got his jersey retired in Florida. He is the best goaltender to ever play for the Canucks. Better than Kirk McLean. Kirk McLean is in the Ring of Honor, so I guess where's the sweet spot? Is Roberto Luongo going to be a Ring of Honor guy, or is he going to be a jersey retirement guy? I've always leaned towards Ring of Honor, but some people are thinking it's jersey retired because he is the best goaltender in history. We shall see, but he is my favorite player of all time. Canucks player. And then we'll end off with 3 or 4 questions from Not Sean Avery. He's at Justice for Avery. He asked a couple, some really good questions. If they kept their 2020 first, who would you like to see them draft? That's a good question. Admittedly, I am not a big prospects guy, so I wouldn't know who's going to be around in the 15 to 20 range. I'll get more versed with that as we get closer, but I'll send you to Gio or Lego Rocks or anyone like that for a prospect, Maroki on defense for Brett, because I'm simply not a big prospects guy. If the Canucks were picking in the top 5, I could probably tell you, but I don't think they'll be picking in the top 5, so I'll have to do some research that way. Most underrated Canucks prospect in your opinion? Yeah, that's a good question too. Underrated, so I think Jack Rathbone comes to mind because we simply don't hear a lot about him, and we hope that he signs with the Canucks coming out of Harvard. But he could be a difference maker on our D, another mobile, good puck moving defenseman. So he might be someone who surprises us down the road. Do you see them signing Trampkin? If not, what could he fetch us in a trade? Don't know how much he would. I don't. Do I see them signing him? I think it's 50-50. I personally don't think they should sign him, but I could see them signing him as a third pair D, especially if Botanev and Stetcher walk, and even if Rafferty comes in, you want a 6 or 7 D-man as well. So I could see them signing him, even though I don't think he adds that much, quite frankly. And if not, what could he fetch us in trade? I don't think he could fetch us that much because he hasn't played in the NHL for 2 years, and even when he did here, questions about his attitude. So I'm not saying you're doing this, Sean Avery, but if sometimes you overvalue your guys in your own market, right? So I simply don't think he'd get us more than a third, fourth, not even third, maybe a 4th or 5th rounder, maybe a third. I don't know. That seems like high, but who knows? But definitely, I don't think he'd get us that much. And then, who would you rather keep between Wu and Juolevi? Jet Wu, to me, he's going to max out as a third pairing guy, and I've heard reports that he's regressed a little bit, actually, since we drafted him. Juolevi, yes, he's more high profile because of where he got picked in 2016, and we still want him to live up to his billing as a 5th overall pick. But I could see Juolevi peaking as a second pairing defenseman, like a second pairing D-man. So if I use that as my criteria, I would keep Juolevi over Wu because I still think Juolevi has a better potential as a pro. But Jet Wu might be the more consistent one health-wise. So, pick your poison. No, they're not poison. They're good guys. So, but I'd say Juolevi. And then finally, why is Sean Avery such a legend? I do admit I liked. I was entertained, amused by some of his antics, waving the stick in front of Brodeurs' face, calling him the fat guy who didn't shake my hand in the handshake. But then also I could have lived without some of his his quotes and things like that. So legend maybe in your mind, hence that's the why it's your avatar and your name. But I thought he was fine. He was entertaining, but don't really think of him that much until you brought him up. So there we go, Canucks fans. Thank you. That was some really good questions there. Nothing too heavy, but I'm going to do this once a week because I think it's a great way for us to engage, another way for us to engage, and for me to kind of give you a chance to ask me some things that I might not cover on a daily basis. So thanks again for watching. Question of the day, do any of those stick out to you? Or do any of my answers stick out to you? And I would love to hear anything you want to talk about down in the comments below. So have a great day. Subscribe if you like to. Like this video if you like to. Enjoy the day. Be safe. Be healthy. Stay, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. It's going to be a beautiful weekend in terms of weather. So make sure if you are outside that you're still being smart, and take care of your mothers. Make sure you honor her tomorrow as part of Mother's Day. Have a great day. God bless, and go Canucks go.